On today's episode of the Locked On Texans podcast, are we concerned about some of the QB struggles through the first 9 days of camp? You don't want to miss that conversation, but you definitely don't want to miss the exclusive one-on-one with John Metchie. NCAA, Metchie, and the Olympics all come together in this one-on-one conversation.
You are Locked On Texans, your daily podcast on the Houston Texans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Locked On Texans listeners and viewers, to this Tuesday episode of the Locked On Texans podcast, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you to all of our first-time listeners and viewers. Please do us 3 favors. Subscribe, like, and comment to the Locked On Texans podcast on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, thank you to our everydayers from the Himalayas for coming back to continue to listen to Cody and myself continue to talk Texans. I'm your Texans football analyst, John Sports Guy Hickman. On the other side of the screen, Texans Credential Media member, Sports Illustrated's own Cody Davis. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, customers are getting hooked up with a boost or a bonus daily. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Cody, take us away.
And on this Tuesday installment of Locked On Texans, we will continue talking about Houston Texans Training Camp. And, of course, it's all about the defense. But we will have something to share. John had an opportunity to speak to wide receiver John Metchie one-on-one, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear about what John Metchie had to say about turning the big 3 into the big 4. Then we're going to close out this Tuesday installment looking at the Houston Texans unofficial depth chart. The very first one was posted on yesterday afternoon. And John, to be honest with you, I am not surprised to look at the early part of the Houston Texans depth chart. But recapping day 9 of Houston Texans training camp, it was the same old theme. The defense dominated and won the day. However, I would like to say the offense started out good, but during the last 2 drills that they went 11 on 11, that's when the defense really turned things up. CJ Stroud started the day good, throwing 2 touchdowns during his first 2 series. Same thing with Davis Mills, by the way, who John said he's starting to see some regression in Davis. I wouldn't necessarily say regressions. There have been moments where I'm looking at Davis Mills thinking all the way back to his rookie season, thinking to myself, I could see some growth. However, I think Davis, I think, put it like this, 4 years into his career, I think there are improvements that you thought that you was going to see out of Davis Mills. As of right now, we haven't seen it. But John, as of right now, 9 days into training camp, we have talked about it time and time again. The offense, what's wrong with the offense? The quarterback play hasn't really been there. I don't know about you, John, but I'm not too concerned about the struggles that the offense have going on as of right now. First and foremost, and I know this is going to sound a little foolish to some people, but I like to see quarterback struggle in preseason, especially when you have a still young quarterback in CJ Stroud. And the reason why I love it is because, look, first and foremost, you know, Matt Burt and Coach DeMeco Ryans are literally testing out their potential top 10, top 5 defense in training camp as of right now. And the reason why I love that in terms of CJ Stroud is because, first and foremost, if you're going up against a top 5, top 10, a potential top 5, potential top 10 defense in the league as of right now, you're looking at a situation where the struggles that he's facing as of right now is only going to make him better. And if we are looking at the Houston Texans, you know, every single day we came on this show talking about the possibility of them having championship aspiration. We are expecting this team to be a playoff caliber team. We are expecting CJ Stroud to take that leap into year 2. These are the struggles that you want to see, because in order for him to get to the quarterback that we think he's going to be, top 3, top 2, and probably eventually the best quarterback in the league, the way things are going, these are the struggles that he needs to go through. And to prove my point even more, remember this time last year, almost every single day we came on this show talking about CJ Stroud throwing the interception, CJ Stroud doing this, CJ Stroud not looking good. There was moments last year where Davis Mills and Case Keenum came away looking like the better quarterback. And what did CJ Stroud do after his struggles as a rookie quarterback? Oh, he didn't do nothing but one offensive rookie of the year, help this team in their 4-year playoff drought and earned his first Pro Bowl nod. And speaking of interceptions, I remember there was a practice where he threw like 4 or 5 interceptions. Oh, he threw about 5 interceptions his entire rookie campaign. So I love the struggles that he's going through, man, because at the end of the day, this is just going to make him better.
My takeaways for the quarterback position, and I'm going to talk about both CJ Stroud and Davis Mills. Number one was CJ. Just overall, Pep Hamilton came out Saturday. He was with NFL Network. I believe they did a live show out there.
The welcome back training camp show on NFL Network. I know what you're talking about.
So he came over to the sideline where we were standing, and I just had an opportunity to kind of overhear some of the conversation he had with some of the reporters. But my takeaway was Pep Hamilton mentioned that, well, the first couple of weeks of training camp, the defense is normally going to look better than the offense because you're looking at a team, and that makes sense when you got the additions of Stephon Diggs and some of the additions that they have out there for the Houston Texans. They're trying to install some things. They're trying to establish some things as to where the defense is already kind of coming in ahead of the curve, because there's not a lot of you may have some experimenting with coverages. You may have some experimenting with alignments when you look at Petrie, getting a lot of opportunities at the nickel position, who's going to play inside or outside on that D line. You may have that, but for the most part, it's easier on a defense to kind of have better opportunities to stack better days because the offense is going through a period where they're learning and then they're learning on the fly and then they're trying to go out there and execute that as well. And for the offense, it was so bad a couple of days that even my baby was crying, which you guys can probably hear in the background. Right? But also, the rain played a huge factor for CJ. And I got to thinking, man, Coach, I pulled you to the sideline, I want to say Friday, and I was like, hey, do you remember that New York game? In that New York game, CJ Stroud did not play well. Now, mind you, he did not finish that game, but that was the lowest of his career. 91 passing yards before he went out. Did not have an opportunity to really give that team a chance in the first half. You look at some of the things like completed air yards per pass attempt, the lowest on a season for CJ, 1.9. And it was raining that game, and I don't think CJ ever had an opportunity during that game to kind of get himself settled and thrive under those elements, which is why I'm glad it rained last week, and I'm glad CJ and that offense had to go through that during that element time, that during practice with those elements of rain playing a factor to kind of get them used to that. There's not always going to be sunny skies, or you're not going to always be in a dome, right? There's going to be times where you have to play in the rain, play in the snow, and you got to deliver like USPS. So you got to go out there and deliver. Now, in terms of Davis Mills, I do want to give a shout out to Miss Kim Davis of the Chalk Talk podcast. We were standing on the sideline, and I forgot how the conversation came up, guys, but we just got to talking, and it does seem like Davis Mills has either, and I'm going to say regressed in a sense, because he's been here for 4 years. He's going into his second season under Bobby Slowick in this offense, but it isn't the grasp of the plays. It isn't the concept. It's just some of those same mechanical issues that we've seen from Davis Mills since day one. And again, I think the best version of Davis Mills we've seen was his rookie year. That was 4 years ago. Houston was coming out of COVID. And 4 years later, Davis Mills, to me, is still not settling in on his feet to deliver a throw. He's not stepping into his throws. He's not settled. He still seems at times out there at practice did not have the confidence that you want to see out of a backup quarterback in Davis Mills' situation. You kind of got it easy. You're not competing for the starting job. That sign, seal, delivered. You have an opportunity to kind of mechanically just be better, and it's not there. And for Davis, I don't think it's the rain. I just think that there is going to be a conversation that needs to be had that we got to give him an opportunity to showcase what he has, but we also have to scout. We got to scout across the league to see what some of these other backup quarterbacks have, to see what some of these other potential quarterbacks have, because can Houston afford, if something happens, knock on wood, can Houston afford Davis Mills to step in? Well, if I'm going based off of what we saw last year, the answer to that is no. And this is a conversation we had a while back, Cody. I don't know if you remember, listeners and viewers as well. For Mills, for backup quarterbacks, you got to have the confidence of your franchise, the coaching staff. But I also believe, and this may sound crazy because the fans don't matter in a sense, but the city also has to believe in you, because the moment you go out there, they got to believe you give us a shot. I think that's why Ryan Fitzpatrick stayed in the NFL for so long, right? For Mills, I don't know if anybody in Houston believe, and I know this may sound harsh, so forgive me, but I don't know if anybody in Houston believes that if something happens, Davis Mills can keep this team afloat. I think Boyle had better moments than Davis Mills at times when I was out there. I have not been out there all the time every day, so my opinion should be cut by 75%. I can admit that. But from my own eyes, I'm still seeing the same issues, mechanical issues, mental issues from year 2 from Davis Mills. And honestly, that's very concerning to me.
When the Houston Texans drafted John Metchie, we all thought that he was going to be at the top of Davis Mills' receivers list. However, other situations came into play. Now, John Metchie going into year 3, second year with CJ Stroud. It seemed like John Metchie is in for a big year. We'll see and hear what John Metchie had to say with your boy, John Hickman, on the other side of the break.
Before we get over to John Metchie, I want to let you guys know about FanDuel and the awesome, amazing opportunity that they're giving all customers right now. The summer is about to end, but you do not want to miss out on this offer. FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily, every day. We bring you guys a show 5 days a week. They giving y'all a bonus or a boost daily, 7 days a week. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. Head to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of the NFL. Again, visit FanDuel.com, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. Welcome back in, Locked On Texans listeners and viewers. I do want to give you guys a quick update. Titus Howard went into the medical tent Monday, but he came out. He was fine. Cody, what were some more moments from Monday's practice that our viewers and listeners should know about?
Will Anderson Jr., who missed Saturday's practice, he was back out there on the field. Speaking of CJ Stroud, he looked fairly healthy. I know a lot of people got a little scared when he stepped on the ankle of, I believe it was, who was that? It wasn't Autry, as we know why.
We will talk about Autry.
I forgot who. I think it was maybe Jerry Hughes, if I'm not mistaken. But he stepped on somebody's foot on Saturday, came off the practice field limping just a slight bit, but he actually looked really fine moving around the field on Monday. Even though we about to talk about John Metchie, and this is something you and I talked about a lot throughout this whole entire offseason, the battle between Noah Brown and Robert Woods. Every single day it get closer and closer. John, I think you had texted me saying Noah Brown, you was going to make this.
I think he's going to make this team. I mean, and to keep it a buck, Noah Brown deserves it.
Noah Brown deserves it, but Monday, Robert Woods went out there and made some plays with the second and the third team as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see which one of those veterans is going to make the team.
Shout out to Noah Brown. He said Kamari Lassiter is the best rookie defensive back he's ever gone against. And Jimmy Ward took the podium after practice, also with a lot of high praise for Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock, the rookie safety, and Max Tooley, who we have not talked a lot about. He's a guy that I'm excited to see during this Hall of Fame game. I hope he gets an opportunity to play. I hope a lot of those young guys get an opportunity to play this Thursday. But you guys are here because we promised you one-on-one with John Metchie. All right, guys, I'm standing here with John Metchie going into your third year in the NFL. A lot of talk about Stephon Diggs, one of the biggest offseason additions to this team. What is something you believe you add to this wide receiver room that nobody else brings?
I think just dynamic. I think my play style, I don't think there's anything I can't do as far as a receiver. Like route I can't run or like position I can't play on the field. So I just think being dynamic.
Has there been an area of growth that you've seen within yourself as a player that you would like to highlight?
I think just mentally, I think just like finally adjusting to the league, the defenses you get, the way they play on the field, the playbook, the schemes we run and stuff, being really comfortable with that and not having to think and just being able to play and just react second nature. I think just the confidence and knowing like our scheme and what we're trying to do and not thinking while you're on the field, you know.
Throughout this entire offseason, CJ Stroud has really done a campaign job of making sure that we don't forget, which I think as a leader is amazing. Can you discuss the bond between you and CJ and how important has that bond been for you to get back to where you need to be in game mode?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that's my brother for real. Like just not a teammate or my quarterback. Like that's for real my brother, and he knows what I've been through. He knows the things I deal with in my personal life, just like I know the things he does with it in his, right? So of course we gonna go to war for each other, right? And it's big just being able to play with your brothers, and in this case, and being my quarterback on the offense leading the charge. Like we just play harder when we out there. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah.
I'm gonna shift a little bit with the Olympics taking place right now. Do you ever see football being added as an Olympic sport? And if so, would you USA? Would you play for Canada, Taiwan,
or Nigeria? Absolutely. I hope it does for real. I wouldn't play for USA for sure. I would play for one of the other countries, Canada, Nigeria or Taiwan.
You know, Canada got all the ballers right now. Dylan
Absolutely. And I know me and a couple of guys, Josh Palmer, Jesse, and some guys that grew up playing football in Canada. So it would definitely be Canada, actually. I'd have to rep for the North.
Now, how much of your upbringing has helped you with being able to compete out there with guys like Diggs and Nico ahead of you, but also with Derek Stingley on the other side?
I think my path in life prepared me for it all. I don't think just living in different places, adjusting to different people, and all of that. The school I went to, college, competing at the highest level against the best at every position, every single day. Like I think I was bred for it, and then I think I was also built for it. So it's just honestly another day in life for me.
I'm glad you mentioned your school, but that transitions me into my next question. What has it been like playing under both Coach Nick Saban and Coach DeMeco Ryans, and do you see any of those similarities between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been great playing for both of them, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I actually kind of say I like kind of having a defensive head coach because it makes the team a whole lot. It just seems a whole lot like more well-rounded. Although a lot of times stuff is in favor for the defense, but it only makes your offense that much better, right? And I think just in that way, like there are similarities. Like if you have a defensive head coach, it's going to be a little in favor of the defense. But it just makes the offense so much better because you've got to overcome that hurdle in practice. And if you can in games, you'll be prepared for anything.
Just a couple of more questions. I want to go back to Nick Saban. I remember a few years ago they put the highlight with a video out of Julio Jones just talking about how much he don't care what your recruit, your star is coming out of high school. You got to come in and compete. And we hear compete here every day. How much is that just in your DNA, being under both Nick Saban and then transitioning to the NFL now under DeMeco Ryans?
Yeah, absolutely. That's all in my DNA. That's what I'm built up off of. If we're not competing, I don't know what we're doing for real. I don't know how we playing this game, and I don't know how we getting better or how we're going to win. I think that's what it's all about. I think that's what you do when you play games. You compete against somebody, whether it's a sport or you playing pool against somebody or y'all playing tennis, even if it's for fun. Like, y'all competing. It could be for fun, but y'all still competing. I think that's life is competition, right? And
are y'all competing on NCAA right now? The game
I just got on, bro. The last off day, I just got on, so I can't really get on the sticks with anybody because they've been on for a week, but I need a little more time. Just give me like a week or two. Let me figure out how the gameplay is because I see it's a little different with the ball carrying stuff.
I've been telling all my friends, just give me about a month. I haven't played in 10 years.
I played it once, and I like it, but I just got to get used to it, and then I'm on.
This team has consistently emphasized blocking out the outside noise when it comes to the high expectations for this season. As the noise get louder, at what point do you guys just sit back and just embrace it?
Absolutely. You lean into it all. We don't hear anything because it's all about us, and right here, right now, it's all about getting better every day. But you use everything as motivation, right? You don't feed into none of that, or we're not looking outside for anything like that. But anything, good or bad, if you hear it or it's there, you're just gonna use it as motivation, right? There's nothing anybody can say, good or bad, that's gonna change the way we show up and work and what we're trying to accomplish. So it don't really matter for real.
If you are a Texan fan, you want to make sure your butt is in NRG seats this season. Excuse me. You want to see Stephon Diggs. You want to see Nico. You want to see CJ. You're going to want to see John Metchie. You're not going to want to miss out on this experience that Cody and myself believe this team will provide. And in order to do so, you don't need to go nowhere else to get your tickets but the Game Time app. Killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute tickets for not only NFL sports tickets, but concerts, comedy, and theater events near you. You can save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. If y'all download the app, please tweet Cody and myself to let us know that you are a part of the Game Time family. Welcome back in, Locked On Texans listeners and viewers. Please make sure you return back to tomorrow's episode. We will be discussing the DeMeco Ryans suspension. I personally think, and shout out to my man Barrett the Bully, I personally think that is a huge loss for Houston for 6 games. I don't think Houston has a guy outside of Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson on their roster right now. Whether he's going to play tackle or edge, I don't know if there's another guy that can replicate the pressure and productivity that DeMeco Ryans was going to bring to this team, but he was suspended due to PD use that he did not know he used. So he did let the league know. He wanted to make sure that the league knew that he was unaware of what was going on. After 6 games, he'll come back. But as of right now, with the salary cap adjustment, Houston now has right under $19 million in salary cap that they can use. So I think it's important to look at any possible defensive tackles, hybrid DTs, DNs that can come in and fill that void. However, and we're going to look at the depth chart with DeMeco not being here for Houston for 6 games, we look at Mario Edwards, Foley Fadakowski, but this is a great opportunity for Khalil Davis who has been out with injury. He just returned back to practice. I want to say, was it Friday, Cody?
Yeah, it was like Thursday or Friday.
Thursday or Friday. So he just returned back to practice a couple of days ago after missing OTAs. This is an opportunity for him to kind of beat out some guys and just establish himself kind of like he did last year. But I am looking forward to Mario Edwards. And I've been saying it for a while here on the show.
Yeah, I am too, but I will say he lost, I want to say, a handful of reps to Kenyon Green. So, you can take that with a grain of salt. Whoosh. I mean, it might not be so good for Mario Edwards, but it's damn sure good for Kenyon Green. But speaking of Kenyon Green, the Houston Texans finally released their first unofficial depth chart. As we all know, there is a preseason game that will take place Thursday night against the Chicago Bears. So the Houston Texans did drop their first unofficial depth chart for the preseason game. And John, I think every single one of these positions, from the starters to the bench players, everybody is where they're supposed to be as we expected. CB2, the one, and I do mean the one position everyone's been talking about. It looks like it's being held by a rookie that wears number 14. I think his name is Kamari Lassiter. Is that correct, John?
Kamari Lassiter, CB2. Is there anything that's shocking?
Jalen Petrie still being listed as a safety.
Yeah, okay. We're on
A
the
starting
same page.
safety at that.
I would also say, as I look at the depth chart, just thinking of Miles Bryant, I don't think he's had too much of a good training camp for Houston. I like Miles coming over from New England. But as of right now, if we believe that Jalen Petrie is going to eventually take over as the nickel, then I look at Petrie and Desmond King as the two options. Brandon Hill still listed last. I don't know if he's going to have an opportunity to actually make this team this year.
Yeah.
So and that's that's the business, right? Can't really get caught up too much on it. That's the business. That's how it works. But hopefully he gets an opportunity to showcase what he can do starting Thursday. Thank you guys for watching today's episode. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and comment to the Locked On Texans podcast on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also follow me on Twitter at John_Hickman12.
And as always, I'm your host, Cody M. Davis. Please remember to follow me on Twitter at Cody Davis_24. Once again, it's Cody COTY DAVIS_24. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace.